يعرض مسألته على واحد من أهل العلم ويفصل كذا حتى يأخذ فتوى خاصة بحالته والحالة المعينة. وإلا لو نعطي هكذا فقط معلومات، والله في الناس سمعت أنه الراجح وكذا وكذا، فالناس تبدأ تتلاعب بالدين. وهذه مسائل خطيرة. Very very serious questions of marriage and divorce. Imagine you're living with a woman and you don't know, actually is she still your wife or is she not your wife? Like you don't know if, like are you in halal or you're in zina, iyadan billah. And it's been like this for years and I'm not sure. You know, one day I'll find some shaykh and I'll try to convince him to give me the answer I want. This is very serious. Allah Azza wa Jal called marriage mithaqan ghalidha. It's a very thick, heavy contract. It's not a joke. It's not like selling a car, because you know contracts of the dunya, we can, how do we say? We can roll back, right? We can fix back the situation. Okay, just return the car back to him and he's gonna give you back your money and khalas. Marriage is not the same thing. It's something very serious. It has kids that are involved, and arham and honor and so on and so forth. Now, as we said, one should not divorce his wife if it's a tuhr. Tuhr is what comes, it's the regular time basically, when she's not in her hayd, so it's the period of purity. If they had intimacy in that period, في طهر جمعها فيه, also he should not divorce. So what's the only option that's left? The sunnah talaq, the normal, the good way to do talaq is that one, if he wants to divorce his wife, he divorces his wife in a period of purity of طهر, during which there was no intimacy. في طهر لم يجامعها فيه. That's how it should be done in Islam. What does that tell you about the hikmah of Allah Azza wa Jalla, the wisdom of Allah? Yes?
If you can resist this desire that Allah put in you and gave you the ability to fulfill it in a halal way, if you could resist this interaction, then maybe you have a reason to do this. Barakallahu
feek. So that's an excellent answer, right? So if someone gets to the point where we know that a woman during her hayd, she gets emotional and everything, and he cannot have intimacy and everything, so maybe he gets upset and they have a fight, he's going to divorce his wife. No, you can't divorce your wife in the time of hayd. But then hayd is over and she's in her time of purity, طهر. And like the brother says, if someone even in that moment can resist basically the shahwa of the halal, and he doesn't want his wife, he wants to divorce her, that there's a very strong probability here that he really does not like this relationship. He's really basically, it's not an emotional, it's not a reaction thing. That's for one. What do we have also? Pregnancy. We'll talk about pregnancy in a moment, inshallah. What do we have also? It limits the window, the time you have to be able to divorce. Like imagine, okay, when some places like the banks and everything, they don't want to serve their customers, they want to cut. What do? Like there are some services they just offer, like they tell you the second Wednesday of the month. Okay, so if you miss that Wednesday, what do? Oh, wait for next month again. So a lot of people will end up just not showing up. They're just not going to come for that service. So here Allah Azza wa Jal restricts the situations where one can divorce his wife the proper way, if we fear Allah Azza wa Jal. What's going to happen now is going to exclude all the non-rational decisions, reactive, that someone is just like so upset, said, okay, I'm going to divorce my wife. No, I want to divorce my wife, but I can't do it now. I have to wait for the tahr. While a week passes by, 2 weeks, and then it's like, okay, just we can work on this again. Okay? And also, another thing here, the ulama, they say, even during the time of the raj'ah, okay, when they are in that, thalathat quru, the ulama, they say, he divorced her. But before the raj'ah expires, also that's, again, he has this woman who's in front of him for 3 periods. And we said before, if there's intimacy, it counts as a raj'ah, right? So if he can resist for all that time, then again, that shows you how serious his decision is. And the ulama, they say also, it's allowed, if not recommended for her to put nice clothes and makeup and everything. So Allah Azza wa Jal wants marriages to to sustain and to be kept as much as possible, unless really divorce is the best way out. There are situations where divorce is the best way out of the relationship. نعم أخي.
So something could come up.
صحيح.
So if you decided now to do it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you an opportunity for it. If the situation changes potentially, then you can change your mind.
أحسنت. نعم بارك الله فيك. Okay, so sometimes it can be that maybe she was not taking her husband seriously, but that she realized, or maybe sometimes someone from outside was coming, or sometimes, the family hears he divorced his wife, and his parents or her parents are going to intervene and try to do islah and everything and find solutions. So now we know that the situation is serious. But look, Allah Azza wa Jalla made it that if someone waits until what? The end of the iddah, or after 3 talaq, then definitely this is very hard to keep these two people together. Okay? Now, let's talk also a little bit more about al-iddah. We said the iddah of the wife who is divorced, her iddah is 3 periods of hayd, 3 quru, barakallahu fik. What about if a wife is pregnant? He divorced his wife when she was pregnant. That's possible to do. Okay, so that's not haram to do. It's possible, it's completely licit. But her iddah will not be 3 waiting periods. أَجَلُهُنَّ أَن يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنَّ. Her ajal, her iddah, her waiting period will end the moment she gives birth. The moment her pregnancy ends, finished. She's not his wife anymore. So if he divorces his wife and she's pregnant, 3 months pregnant, he says, Anti taliq. Still his wife. He has to spend on her, take care of her, his wife and everything. But the moment she gives birth, maybe 5 months, 6 months after max, then finished. She's not his wife anymore. And تصبح عنه أجنبية. Now we have also the iddah of المتوفى عنها زوجها, the widow. What if a woman, she lost her husband, he passed away? When can she get married? Allah Azza wa Jal says that she has a waiting period too. Her waiting period is أربعة أشهر وعشرة, 4 months and 10 days. It's a total of 4 months and 10 days. After 4 months and 10 days following the death of her husband, she can get married. Now there's an exception for her, because by the way, if somebody divorces his wife, that's very dangerous. Khatir, iyadan billah. If someone divorces his wife, and people, they start talking, her husband divorced her, and because she told one of her friends, and everybody's talking like this. Or they go to someone, and she says, we're having problems, my husband divorced me and everything. She's talking to someone asking for help. It's haram. And it's very serious here. It's haram for anyone to propose to this lady. You understand? During her waiting period. It's haram for anyone to say, it's okay, he divorced you, you know what, forget him. Let your iddah be done, and I have somebody better for you. A'udhu billah. It's haram. Nobody can do this. Except for the widow. Al-mutawaffa anha zawjuha. The widow, during the 4 months and 10 days, somebody can indirectly propose to her. He's not going to tell her, the moment your iddah is finished, I want to marry you. You can't do this. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the right, as the ulama, they say, they give examples in the books of tafsir and fiqh. Someone can send her a message, basically like a month after the death of her husband. She gets a message that some man said about her, مثلك لا يرغب عنه. A woman like you is a woman that, of course, a man would want to marry. So this is what? It's hinting. Hinting for the interest, that's possible. That's halal. But proposing to her, that's haram. That's only for the woman who is what? A widow, not for the mutallaqa. The mutallaqa, we said, ثلاثة قروء, 3 periods. No, but it's still, she's married. She's partially married. Basically, imagine if a man tells his wife, Anti taliq, you're divorced, the first or the second time. Imagine it's like this. There was a relationship, okay? It's tied like this. And every day it's becoming looser and looser and looser and looser and looser until the day the iddah is over, finished the relationship between the two. But they are still what? Linked. So that's why nobody can propose to her. عياذا بالله سبحانه وتعالى. اليائس. Now اليائس is a lady, a woman, usually older women who doesn't have periods anymore. She doesn't have hayd anymore. What if her husband divorces her? Then her iddah is 3 months. It's not 3 periods because she doesn't have periods anymore. Her iddah is 3 months. Now that was about at-talaq. Let's talk about the second option, as we said before, which is al-khula. What is al-khula? Al-khula is kind of a separation that comes from the side of the wife, not from the husband. So a husband, he can do talaq, he can divorce his wife. A wife too can initiate a separation in Islam in some situations, but that's not called a talaq. It's called the khula. And khula is very clearly mentioned in the sunnah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wa as-salam. So that's when a wife, she wants to leave her husband. And the ulama, they say, muharramun aw makruhun. It's haram or it's makruh to do khula when the relationship is going on really well. That's why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please listen to this, very serious hadith here. In the authentic hadith, he says alayhi salatu wasalam, أيما امرأة سألت زوجها الطلاق من غير بأس فحرام عليها رائحة الجنة. Any woman who asks her husband for separation for no basis, no reason, then Jannah is haram on her. عياذا بالله. So this is very serious, because what is Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam talking about here? Woman, she says, yeah, I have a very nice husband. I like him a lot. He's a great husband and everything. But then one day she says, but my husband is not very wealthy. He's not like those men, they have a business and they have, alhamdulillah, she's having a good life. He spends on her. She's not suffering with him. He spends, he does the hajjah and everything. She says, I can probably find a better husband, someone who is what? Someone like we see on TV. So someone who can buy me a big house with a swimming pool, jacuzzi inside and everything. So divorce me, please. I don't want to stay with you. Why? No, just because I don't want to stay with you. That's what the Prophet said here. فَالْجَنَّةُ عَلَيْهَا haram. It's very serious. عِيَاذًا بِاللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى. Now, أو فحرام عليها رائحة الجنة, the smell of Jannah, to be more precise, is haram on her. Now, to be more specific, what are the cases in which a wife can ask for al-khula, for a separation, called al-khula? Either because her husband is not giving her rights, ظالم لها, so her husband doesn't want to spend on the family. She doesn't get to see her husband. Her husband is with his other wife, he has another wife, and for a reason or another, he is zalim. So in this case, it would go through a judge, a qadi. Okay? The qadi is going to analyze the situation, study, investigate, and then if he finds out that yes, he is zalim, then the qadi is going to rule, is going to say, whether you like it or not, your wife is what? Separated from you. Now, in this case, what is specific? Please listen to this. What is specific to this case? If the qadi, if the judge, the court, who rules by the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, realizes that yes, she deserves to be separated from him because he's not doing his job as a husband, then she does not have to return anything back to him. So, for example, she said, my mahar, when they got married last year, she said, I'm asking for $1 million as a mahar. You're a very wealthy man. He gave her $1 million. And then the qadi, a year after, she comes to complain to the qadi, said, I don't want to be with this man anymore. Why? Because he doesn't do his obligations. The qadi investigates and he finds out, yes, it's true. The qadi is going to rule here that what? Khula, separation, and she gets to keep the $1 million. Now there's another situation of khula, where the husband, he's doing his job as a husband, but she does not want to stay with him. Why? Not just because she's being, spoiled, she wants like the house and the jacuzzi and everything. No, really something in her heart makes her not love this man anymore. She just can't be with him. She just can't be. For this man specifically because of his personality or something. This happened in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When a Sahabiya, this is the authentic hadith, she came to him, woman came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She said, my husband, I don't blame him in his deen or in his character. He's mashallah. ولكنني أكره الكفر بعد الإسلام. I am afraid of committing kufr because of how much I don't like my husband. I don't like him at all. So, Ya Rasulullah, I don't want to be with him. In this case, the husband, there's nothing to blame him for, right? As it came in some narrations that he was really not good looking, like he was not just not attractive, he was not good looking at all. Allahu A'lam, maybe there was something in his face, on his body or something that was basically repulsive. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't feel at all, I can stay with this man. So I'm afraid that if I stay with him, I'm going to hurt him and I'm going to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, أتردين عليه حديقته? Will you return to him his حديقة? حديقة is kind of a farm. So he gave her حديقة as a mahr for marriage. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, do you give him back the حديقة? She said, yes. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, فطلقها تطليقة. Some ulama, they say this lafz here of the hadith is not precise, that's not tatliqa. Big debate here, whether this khula is going to count as a talaq, counts, but that's a thing more for the classes of fiqh. So here the ulama, they say, in this case, the judge is going to rule here, but she has to return to him what? The mahr. You understand? Because he's not to be blamed. Otherwise, women, they're just gonna come, get married, take the mahr, and then I'm not happy with, he's a great person, but I don't want to stay with him. So she has to prove that really he's not being just toward her, and he's not doing his duty as a husband. In that case, yes, she gets to keep the mahr. The qadi is going to, it's not up to anybody to decide. It's the qadi. But if the husband is not to be blamed, then the khul' here either is proposed by the qadi, or by the way, in this case, the khul' doesn't have to necessarily to include what? A qadi. To the point that some ulama, they say, someone can pay kind of al-fida, pay, someone has a wife, someone is married to, let's say somebody is married to your nephew, somebody's married to your niece, somebody's married to your niece, and you know that she's not happy with her husband at all. You know it, that, he's a good person, but she's not happy with him at all, and she's a good person too, but she really can't be with him. She really can't be with him, and it's becoming a serious thing, and she wants to leave him, but he said, give me back my mahr, and she said, I spent everything, I don't have anything to give you. Some fuqaha here, they say even you can intervene and you can go talk to him. Can I talk to you and everything? If you want to divorce my niece, and I'll give you $20,000. Okay, many ulama, they say this can be done also. Khula, if you know that the lady herself, she wants to leave him, but he doesn't want to, but you can convince him, you pay him a compensation, either the mahr itself or a portion of the mahr or something. Many ulama, they say also this will count as a khula. What else do we have? We have also situations of ash-shiqaq. Situations of ash-shiqaq. This also is mentioned in the Quran. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ يُرِيدَا إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. Now sometimes people, they can come from outside to intervene, to help. If husband and wife relationship is really not going well, too many problems, and he doesn't want to divorce her necessarily, he's unsure what to do, and her too, she is unsure what to do. In this situation, the solution that Allah Azza wa Jal, He gives us in the Quran is that she can have a hakam from her party, someone to represent her, and someone to represent him. So there's going to be two men here, and they have to be people adlayni, people that are trustworthy in their deen and their akhlaq, not like anyone like this. So two people who are wise, trustworthy, they both delegate to them the decision about the future of this relationship. So there's going to be two men here, one to represent the wife, one to represent the husband. Everybody's going to be in contact with both of them. And these two hakamain, Allah called them hakamain. That's why many ulama, they say they are of the opinion that they actually have the power of a court. They can decide, they can say, look, they can have, after discussion, investigation, everything, don't you agree with me that they cannot be together anymore? He says, yes, I think I agree with you. The best thing is that they should not be together anymore. Yahkuman, they're going to decide what to split, to end this relationship. So this is mentioned in the Quran. Of course, one last point, inshaAllah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before we take any questions, if there are any questions, is what do we do? Because I mentioned many situations here where we spoke about the qadi, the court, the judge. What if there's no judge that rules by the shara, by the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like it is the case for Muslims in the West and elsewhere in the world? What is the solution here? So, as we said before, there is a solution, there's an answer that says, someone like an imam, for example, he's going to play that role. Why? Because they take this from other opinions in the fiqh, traditional fiqh, that if it's in a tribe, for example, there's a tribe, they live in a tribe, and there is no qadi. Who's going to decide on this? It's the chef of the tribe, the one who's... But there's kind of a difference nowadays between an imam and what? The chef of a tribe. Chef of a tribe has more authority. People, they recognize, Nowadays, an imam, especially in big cities where you have many masajid and everything, many imams, they don't necessarily have the qualifications in fiqh. That's one. And even those who are qualified, for many people, the imam is just an employee. Like, wow, why is he getting involved in this? And many imams, actually, they end up in problems in these types of situations, right? So, like we spoke before about adl. The girl, she wants to get married. Her husband, her dad, he says, no, you're not getting married. I don't want you to talk to me about marriage. She goes to the imam, describes the situation, and the imam says, okay, just bring the brother you want to get married to. I'm going to talk to him. Okay, I'll get you married right now. And then this, leaves problems after. Because her father is going to make rumors that this imam is getting our girls married without our consent. He's a fasiq. He doesn't fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Worse than this is, as we said before, khula. So the sister, she comes. My husband, I haven't seen him in a year. He went to another country, doesn't even answer my calls, doesn't send us money. I have to work, he left me with the kids. And then the imam, he tries his best, whatever. And then, okay, do khula. I pronounce the khula. And then once, twice, 3 times. And then maybe for right, maybe for wrong. Okay, but let's say he was doing the right thing. What happens? People, they start making rumors. Oh, that imam is breaking what? Marriages, he's breaking relationships. Sometimes it happened this happened to some imams. Oh, he's taking other people's wives. He wants to break marriages so that he can marry her. That's very bad for the image of the imam. So that's why the best solution, inshallah ta'ala, in these type of situations is that in every major city where you have a big community, that there will be a council of knowledgeable people, of imams, like 3, 4 of them, for example, where they work on the cases together. So for one, there's less possibility of a mistake. If someone is, it's a bit in a hurry to say no, the other ones are going to say no, we should wait a little bit. We should talk to them a little bit more. Number 2, nobody's going to accuse a group of people. Okay, if somebody says all these imams, they're just destroying our families and people, they don't believe. But as one person, they can damage your image. People, they can damage your reputation and make rumors about you and so on and so forth. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, before we take a break, are there any questions concerning what we have just covered? نعم. لو راجعها نعم تحسب راجعته. إذا طلق زوجته وهي حامل ثم راجعها قبل أن تضع حملها، نعم قبل الولادة، نعم فهي تحسب رجعة حتى لو أكثر من 3 أشهر، طالما كانت الرجعة في العدة، والعدة عدة الحامل كما قلنا أن تضع حملها.
تستني العدة ولا right away ممكن تتزوج ولا؟
لا، حتى بالنسبه للخلع فيه العده، فيه العده نفس الشيء. نعم، تعتد حتى المخترعه تعتد على الاقل هنا حتى يستبرأ الرحم وغير ذلك. نعم. نعم. Yes.
If this is not a private question, can you please translate?
Oh yes, of course. So the brother was saying if someone divorces his wife who's pregnant, okay, we said the iddah is when she's going to deliver the baby. He says the brother, if the iddah is going to be for like 6 months, 7 months, can he still take her back after 5 months? Yes, because as long as it's the waiting period itself. No. Yes.
So after the 3 months, or after the period is done, like, is it exactly on that last night that she has to wear the hijab, that she has to take her stuff and leave, or like, what's the ruling on that?
Yes, okay. Here the brother is asking about the iddah of the 3 cycles here. We call them the 3 cycles because in the Quran they are called thalathat quru. I wanted to make things simple for you, so we said 3 periods, okay? But there's a slight difference of opinion here about between the ulama whether the quru means 3 periods of purity or 3 periods of hayd. But it's close. But we pick one opinion and we stick. So if we say 3 hayd, so the moment her 3rd hayd starts, finished.
Oh, it starts when
It starts. Yes.
They're short as 2 months.
Afwan?
They're short as 2 months. If he never today and she have got
Exactly.
then 1 and 1, it's not 2 months.
Sahih. So some women, it's not always the same length of the hayd. So it can be shorter. It's 3. That's the 3rd one.
So at the beginning of the 3rd one, that's when it's.
Yes. When the 3rd one comes, yes.
Also, another question is that the sunnah is that if the girl has never been married before,
Sorry, the girl?
if the girl has never been married before, the guy has to spend like 7 days.
Yes.
And then if she's divorced and she's married again, like really her, it takes 3 days. Now, does this only apply to those people that have multiple wives, or is it like?
Okay. Excellent question. Very good point. MashaAllah. So we have, let's mention the normal ruling, then we'll talk. The known ruling is that if someone has more than 1 wife, someone has multiple wives. So let's say someone has 2 wives. By the way, I forgot to tell you just an anecdote of fiqh here. Even some men, they have their iddah. Okay, they call it iddatul rajul. That's if a man is married to 4 wives and then he divorced one of them and he wants to marry another wife. So he had 4 wives, okay? And he divorced one of them, and then a few days after, he finds a 5th lady he wants to marry her. He cannot marry her because he has to wait for the iddah of his divorced wife to end, so that he will go from 4 to 3. Then he can marry another one. They call this iddatu ar-rajul. So the question of the brother: if someone has 2 wives and then he marries a 3rd wife, as we said before, when he has 2 wives, he has to spend 1 night with each wife. One. The moment he marries a 3rd wife, she's a new wife, they just got married. The sunnah is that if she was never married before, she's bikr, this lady, then she has here an exception to get 7 nights in a row. Then he restarts the cycle. So he had night for wife 1, night for wife 2, wife 1, wife 2. And then he got married to a 3rd wife. What? 7 nights with the 3rd wife. And then it becomes what? Night with 1, night with the 2nd, night with the 3rd, night with the 1. And if she was married before, she's thayyib, as we call her in the fiqh in Arabic, then it's not 7 nights, she gets 3 nights the first time after marriage. So it's 3. So he's going to, the day he gets married to her, 3 nights with her, and then she's just going to be included with the other wives, just the normal. Now the brother says, does the same logic apply to a wife who is just the only 1 wife? Okay? Yes, some ulama, they made their own ijtihad, and they said it's part of the rights of the wife in Islam, even if she's only 1 wife, It's her right that her husband spends the night at her house at least once every 4 nights. That's his wajib. You see, some ulama, they say the right of a wife. Now forget many wives. One wife, he has one wife. Some ulama, they said, it's the right of the wife in Islam that obviously her husband spends time with her. She cannot have a husband that she never sees, that is always around the world, traveling for... They say the ulama, some ulama, this is not like an ijma', but some ulama, they made an ijtihad here, taqdeer, like how often should he at least, this is the minimum, not like this is how it should be. This is the minimum, meaning after this he would be zalim to her, he would be unjust toward her. They said here, he spends with her at least 1 out of 4 nights, because they just assume that what if he had 4 wives in that situation, she would get at least 1, so that's the minimum she should be getting. You understand? Now, of course, other ulama, they said no, this has no dalil for it, no evidence, and here it should go back to the urf. It should go basically, it should be something that's reasonable. It doesn't have to be 1 every 4, because if every man is going to tell his wife, I'm going to come see you once every 4 nights, and then the other 3 nights I'm sleeping at my mom's house, okay? It would be really odd, really strange. So the normal life is that he is spending his nights with his wife, unless the ulama, they say there's a udhr. That's why the ulama, they talk about man tala safaruh. If someone travels for a long time, been 6 months away or something, if there's no excuse, this is serious in Islam. This is dhulm li al-mar'a. Some men, they do this. He goes, he's a businessman. He travels around the world and he leaves his wife for like 6, 7, 8 months. If that's with her consent, she's okay with that, no problem. حقها تنازلت. Or if he traveled, they said, if that's the case, either for ضرورة, necessity meaning he's stuck somewhere. He went, and in some countries, he went to that country and then, he's banned from traveling. He has problems getting his passport. It's not his fault, so he's not to be blamed. This is ضرورة, okay? Or the ulama, they say, like back in the days, they say, safaru hajjin. He went for hajj, travel. Back in the days, you go on the camels. So her husband leaves, she doesn't know. Maybe she will never see him again. Maybe he comes back after 8 months. Not like today, he takes the plane, comes back 2 weeks after for hajj. Okay, and he's a hajji. Or the ulama, they say also, طَلَبُ رِزْقٍ لَا بُدَّ مِنْهُ. If he traveled for a long period to get rizq, to get income, that's necessary. Like some people, they do in some countries, they go, for example, to the Gulf countries, they work for extended period for a year or something, and he's sending money to his family. Why? Because in his country, there's no income, there's no work, he can't make a living. That's an excuse, there's no problem. But if someone, mashallah, he wants to be a big businessman, millionaire, so he's very busy with business, traveling around the world, opening franchises and everything, that's not an excuse for disappearing for a long period. That's dhulm, that's not normal. And in this case, a qadi can decide that khul' is necessary. Either he comes back and stays with his wife, normal, or he takes his wife with him, or the qadi can decide that there will be khul'. As we said, unless she agrees, unless she's okay with that. And in these types of situations, if someone, that's his profile, well, at least he should make it clear before marriage, before he gets married. If he meets this sister, he says, I'm someone very busy, I have businesses around the world and everything, so I can travel for 5, 6 months, you won't see me. Are you okay with that? She says, okay, no problem. المسلمون على شروطهم. Answers your question? نعم. طيب إن شاء الله عز وجل. Yes, أخي. Just before we start with Maghrib, yes.
You mentioned that this is dhulm but not haram. But isn't dhulm...
When did I say it's dhulm and not haram? When did I say?
There was one time you mentioned this, so I'm a little bit confused.
I don't recall this.
Okay.
If you could just remind me of the situation. Maybe I misinterpreted. Maybe I...
By definition, dhulm is haram, right?
Anything that's dhulm is haram. If we say something is dhulm, it's haram. Yes. As we said, maybe I missed a word. I didn't say a word or something. Yes. Every time there's dhulm, it's haram. طيب إن شاء الله we stop إن شاء الله because صلاة المغرب is soon. جزاكم الله تعالى خيرا. After Maghrib إن شاء الله. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.